Kids, I'm going to tell you an amazing story. It all started back when we first met in kindergarten. Even then, I knew I wanted him to be mine. And I was getting closer. But then he moved away. It wasn't until 2019 that we would cross paths again at IDC in Israel. We had a few conversations and shared a couple of great memories. He even witnessed me get attacked by a ginger security guard while dressed like a unicorn. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, it wasn't our time yet, and we would have to wait just a little bit longer. But you know what they say. Beautiful things take time, and it's always worth the wait. As the years passed, we kept in touch and exchanged happy birthdays. Over time, the messages got flirtier and more personal. Although it wasn't until the end of 2023 when we finally realized that there was something there, begging to be explored. And so the story begins again. January is when it all started. Well, technically it was late December, but it was on January 1st, New Year's Eve, when we decided to make it official. You were only visiting for a short time, but we definitely made the most of it. Our first night together after years of not seeing each other was at the matzo ball at Liv, and it was an instant connection. From there we continued our adventures. We went jet skiing, watched the sunset, went to Hard Rock, you came to school with me, met my friends, and even met my parents. We went dancing at 1-800 Lucky, went to museums, put on our matching tattoos at Reynolds Park, and welcomed the new year together. But sadly, it was time for you to leave. Even though I missed you so much, I knew it wouldn't be long until we saw each other again. After many FaceTime dates and celebrating Valentine's Day remotely, I finally got a flight to come see you in Seattle. I finally landed in Seattle, and you showed me around a little bit. But little did I know that you had a surprise already waiting for me. So without a lot of time, we quickly went back to the house and packed a few things and began heading for Arch Cape. After an unforgettable night, we woke up the next morning and grabbed some coffee at Sleepy Monk. Then we headed to our next location, which was in an alpaca farm, and we even made some alpaca friends. Even though it was time to leave, the party wasn't over, and we continued exploring Seattle together. We went to some viewpoints, went to Pike Place, saw the Starbucks Reserve, and a few other fun things. We took a ton of cute selfies and were even matching sometimes. Leavenworth had so many highlights, from roasting s'mores to riding the Alpine coaster, trying to sled, getting stuck in the snow, trying delicious food and ciders, and much, much more. We even took a little trip to Portland, Oregon. There we went on some beautiful hikes where we saw things like huge waterfalls and a witch's house. We took a walk through the Japanese botanical garden and had some matcha there. We stayed at a really nice hotel where we got drinks and had dinner by the fire. And we can't forget about the Outback Kangaroo Farm, where we saw not just kangaroos, but all kinds of other animals. It truly was one of the best trips ever. But sadly, it was time for me to go back home. Luckily, being apart didn't last very long, and before we knew it, we were back in Miami together. It was filled with Target and Walmart runs, jacuzzi nights, walks on the beach, and of course, Mexican food. On Easter, we went to the Fairchild Tropical Garden where we spent a beautiful day in the butterfly garden and took in the surrounding nature. We enjoyed grabbing morning coffees at Neverland where we also got to visit our squirrel friend who was kind of scary sometimes. At Lauren's birthday party, we painted our beautiful pictures. You recreated one of your favorite Matisse paintings, and I painted a colorful alpaca farm, of course. One of my favorite moments in March was when we dressed up together for Purim as cheetahs and bunnies. Obviously, I had to dedicate an entire page to our day on the yacht with my parents. From paddleboarding, dancing on the bow, having a kosher steak dinner, and matching outfits, that day was another one of my favorite March memories. April was also filled with tons of adventures. We celebrated our 3 months at Mr. O1, in matching outfits, of course, went to Super Blue, celebrated Olgita at her bat mitzvah, and got breakfast at one of our favorite spots, Pura Vida. We also went on Estes boat and had a beautiful picnic at Haulover Park. Some of my favorite memories included our day at Universal Studios Orlando. We got soaking wet at some rides which we weren't prepared for, but meeting Patrick and Squidward definitely made up for that. It was also really a special trip because you got to meet my mom's side of the family, who loved you. Another unforgettable day was when we took a day trip to Key Biscayne. We took a bike around and searched for a key lime pie, which we didn't find. And when it was time to go, we ended up getting stuck in 7-hour traffic that ended up on the news. Normally, a situation like that would have been a nightmare for me, but being with you made it so fun and easy that it actually ended up being one of my favorite memories ever. We also went to Turtle Fest, where we did a scavenger hunt that taught us a lot about turtles. That night, we continued the fun walking around in Lincoln Road. Some other fun things we did was walk around Wynwood, play beach volleyball during the sunset, and got this beautiful photo of us together on Shabbat. April was also the month that we went to Costa Rica for Passover, which was another one of my favorite trips. We visited the Starbucks coffee farm where we got to see and learn about the entire process of how they make their coffee. It was not only educational, but a very interactive experience where we got to pick the fruit right off the tree and also sampled some coffees as well. At Rio Perdido, we took many golf cart rides, and on the final days, we went to another hotel where we took these beautiful photos together. Some more Costa Rica highlights included drinking lots of coconuts, getting dirty in the stinky hot springs, went swimming in the natural pools with the monkeys, had delicious breakfast and dinners, and took many hikes to see some gorgeous views. One of my favorite moments was also when we did the canopy adventure and the hanging bridges. In May, we came back to Miami and went straight to F1. Although it was extremely hot outside, we had so much fun as we took shots and sat by the pool during live performances, where we got to see Ed Sheeran and Don Omar. You taught me so much about the race, and it made my experience even better as we watched and heard the cars zoom by while checking the scoreboard to see who was winning. We had such a good time at F1 that it only made sense to go to K1 Speed and race each other. Of course, I got last place, and if it weren't for that 13-year-old kid, you would have gotten first. We also had fun building our own Lego Porsche. For my mom's birthday, you took us to the B'nai Barabi concert where we also had an amazing time. It's not over though, because in May we also went to St. Pete where we got to live as retired Florida grandparents. We played in the powdery sand, visited Honeymoon Island, walked by the pier, drank pina coladas, and watched gorgeous sunsets. Back in Miami, we spent another night at the Hard Rock where we got drunk off Tubi and waited for Yureen's arrival. Another adventure we took in May was when we went to the Opali fashion show during swim week where we got to see booties of all sizes. For our 5-month celebration, you took us to Jungle Island where we got to play with bunnies and see many other animals, including birds, flamingos, snakes, capybaras, and many more. We also went to Lanyap with Venus and Yagel, Mila lounged with Momi, and built our own exclusive fort in my den. One magical moment that we experienced together was seeing the double rainbow on the balcony. It looked like what being with you feels like. Heaven. Also in June, we got lunch at Fujihana, spent the day at Nikki Beach, and went to Noam's house for a safari party. We also got to see more animals when we took a trip to the Everglades, where we took an airboat searching for alligators. We saw alligators of all sizes, from tiny little babies to giant monster-sized gators. And I can't forget the trip we took to Sarasota when we spent a night in the tiny homes and had a coffee at Breaking Wave. On the way back, we took a quick and small road trip through the western part of Florida. We looked for fairy doors and shark teeth in Venice, grabbed food and got locked out of the Tesla in Fort Myers. We took a stop at Southern Fresh Farms in Fort Myers where we got to see ponies, cows, and a country band while drinking fresh strawberry and basil lemonade. We kept going and had dinner and drove through Naples before finally heading back home. For our 6-month anniversary, we had a restaurant at home dinner making one of our favorite dishes, your lemon pasta. For the 4th of July, we watched fireworks go off in the city and the beach side right in front of us. We also had a fun night going mini golfing at Putt Shack with Yoreen, and we also took many Target runs and nap times. Some other highlights from July included taking a beginner salsa dancing class and graduating from FIU with you by my side. In August, we went back to Sarasota where we spent some time at Rachel's house. It was so fun having dinner, playing board games, and going out with them. Afterwards, we took advantage of the fact that we were there again and visited the Ringling Brothers Museum and got caught in the pouring rain. Back home, we played memory in our matching robes, went to Strawberry Moon for a day party, visited the Balloon Museum, and also had a fun day riding the motorized shopping carts through Walmart. Finally, it was time to head to Mexico for Ariela and Isak's wedding. While in Mexico, we went to some really cool museums, walked around the city, took a photo with a cool Mexican guard, partied at the Berberisca, and got dressed up in black tie attire to attend the wedding. In a bittersweet way, we said goodbye to my family and this chapter of our time in Miami and headed to the airport on our comfortable Emirates flight on the way to Dubai. For the first couple days, we stayed in the Paramount Hotel in the downtown area. Our room was incredible and the views from the pool were even better. We went to the Dubai Mall, saw the Burj Khalifa up close, walked on glass in the frame, briefly went to the Future Museum, and watched the fountain show during dinner time. We went to the Old Town Souk for a day where the heat was unbearable, and at night took a stroll through the Dubai Marina. For the rest of our trip, we stayed in the Radisson Hotel at the Palm. We had a fun night out at the penthouse where we got some delicious cocktails and took a day trip to the desert safari where we got to ride camels, sled on the sand dunes, watch a belly dancer and fire show, and dress up like the Arabs. To close out our trip, we celebrated your upcoming birthday at Sushi Samba, where we got to eat delicious food while taking in some stunning rooftop views of the Palm. As we said goodbye to Dubai, we were so excited to be on the way to Israel, where it was finally my turn to meet the rest of your family. The next day after arriving, we had gotten ready to attend Noah's wedding. It was also your birthday! This week we also went to dinner at Namos, took some cute elevator selfies, went to the food festival in Tel Aviv, and sat for some wine and cheese at Deli Vino, where we got to play with your new camera. We also had a beach day with your family and went to Ashdod for Shabbat. We fell asleep on the couch watching movies, went to dinner at Hanamaru, walked through the marina, had a night out at Venice Beach Bar in Herzliya, and went to Jerusalem to pray at the Kotel and walk through the Shuk. For my birthday, you took Leah and me to Utopia Park where we got to hold baby birds and see other animals as well. For dinner, we went with your family to Nishi where we had a yummy dinner. A few days later, we went to Rhodes. We spent a couple nights at Stay Hostel, the Casino Hotel, and Cook's Club. We laid and sunbathed by the freezing cold pool, jumped off the famous platform, explored the old town, ate and partied at Ronda Beach Bar, spent a day in Lindos, had dinner at Limanaki, had a night out in the old town, and took a day trip to Simi Island. After all the craziness in Rhodes, we came back to Israel right as the holidays began. We celebrated Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot together. We went to the gym a few times and read books on the beach. It was very peaceful until we heard the sirens and the booms and realized we had nowhere to hide. We took some more elevator selfies, of course, had a beach day, and went to Michaela's birthday party. We also celebrated Halloween together and took some spooky pics. In November, Trump got reelected as US president, so naturally we attended a party in Tel Aviv in your friend's penthouse. That same night, we also went to Capella for a birthday party. We also attended another birthday party, but this time it was at Tom's house for a barbecue. We gave each other massages and took some more cute selfies. We also spent a day in Tel Aviv walking around the port and went to the Museum of Illusions. In November, we also watched many sunsets, and also my parents came to visit around this time. In December, I bought us matching shirts with our picture on it, as well as cozy sweaters for the winter. While my parents were here, we went to the marina, Café Villam, and had a family dinner at Joya, where you surprised me with a dessert to celebrate my birthday with my parents, since I didn't have that chance in September. We also took a day trip to Ashkelon, where we took a visit to the Nova site and an IDF base right near Gaza. We also took them to our favorite spot Manal, where we sat for drinks at sunset. We went to Lali's house on Friday and also went to Tel Aviv a few times. And when it was time for my parents to leave, you comforted me as we drove back home from the airport. In December, we also drank lots of sangrias, went for coffee, attended Taz's wedding, had lunch at Chabad, and drove through the Green Gallery. And as we close this chapter of our first year, we welcome a new one together again. Even though we had such an amazing 2024, I'm so excited to begin 2025 as we continue to grow and experience new things, learning more about each other every day. I'm so lucky to have you by my side, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else besides yours. I love you. Mwah.